What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games, or later on your favorite podcast service, B. Dave Walters and Erin M. talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you hear this live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
I am Erin M. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels Saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms, featuring 3 of your favorite Idle champions, Frida, Havilar, and Mahan. I also play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. Audio listeners, you are missing out this week.
Every week.
Hey. You made me forget the rest of my spell. B. Dave Walters at B. Dave Walters everywhere. I do this lots of places. Erin hit my weak point, so yeah.
Is there a Magic the Gathering metaphor we could use here? Because I have to admit, I've played 3 games.
You played an instant spell that just completely
an interrupt.
Yeah,
you hit me with an interrupt. Yeah, counterspell. That is true. 100% true. But somehow an interrupt that gave me hit points back. I don't know how that works. It was like an interrupt buff. Just like bless. I'm like yeah.
But yeah.
Go. Today we are talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. Oh, are you into the magic and the gatherings?
Did a little bit of it that this summer. You might have seen me do a little bit of Magic the Gathering product placement. Yeah. So
your and Josh Lee Kwai's commercial was my favorite just because that's how I want to play Magic from now on. We were like, the beholder hides in the darkness.
Yeah. A cold breeze goes down the nape of your neck as a new foe approaches from the craggy ridge. Yeah, I still remember my lines. The best part about those commercials is you cannot tell how much of that is scripted and how much of it is improvised, because it really did kind of weave in and out fairly seamlessly. I played Mad Magic the Gathering back in the day. That was one of the main ways I made money in college, is I'd play in cash tournaments. So I'm rediscovering Ravenica here in recent years. And I've been sent a lot of Magic cards, which is great. But I'll tell you, and this will make sense to some viewers, and it will wound the souls of others. And I have a vested interest in doing both. So my plan is, because they sent us those puzzle boxes. I'd bring it over here, but it's gigantic. You have to see the pictures. It really is this big and this tall. It's huge. It's fantastic. And it's got a box in it, and it's got a bunch of the silver packs, the specialty packs. And my plan is not to open any of them and just keep them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the problem is right now, they're Schrodinger's magic cards, which they actually aren't that valuable when they're unopened, because there's the potential that it's something really great, but there's also the potential that it's absolute garbage. The problem is, and here is why, dear viewer, the box they sent me has this really nice little display area that fits the box and fits all the packs and everything. And I'm like, well, now I can't open it. If they just sent me a box and been like, here's some magic cards, I'd be like, YOLO, let's see what this is. It's the presentation now. So that's why they will live in my little altar, my little shrine.
Good news for people live with us here. Not as great for audio listeners. It's gonna be a little visual thing. I actually have some packs here because I bought a whole booster box. And I'm gonna open a couple of these throughout the show. Because I thought that would be fun. But yeah, there's definitely some overlap between Idle Champions and this, because several of the champions are in this Magic set, and they look really cool. Actually, I
the greatest crossover event in a generation.
It honestly, it really is. And it's wild, because you would think Wizards of the Coast owns both. You think this would have happened much earlier and happen all the time, but no, because they were both momentous properties with their own lore and fandoms and momentum, and there always was a lot of crossover between people who play Magic and people who play D&D, the designers of Magic and the designers of D&D. You know, there always has been a big Venn diagram. And honestly, I was really surprised when Ravnica came out. For those of you that aren't aware, the D&D campaign setting that is the world that Magic happens in. I was really surprised when the Ravnica setting happened before something like AFR. I thought AFR would have been the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms would have been the far more, you know, logical and smooth collab.
I do remember that there were a lot of theories going around at the time when they announced the Ravnica book that they're like, oh, they're gonna do the D&D set the same time, so it's like they're flipping on. But we had to wait a little bit longer, and I'm not upset about, because these cards are really freaking cool.
They are really great. They're really great. Yeah.
I actually got I have a few cards here that I've gotten so far that have some champions in it that we'll go over, and I figured the first good one to show off is Farida. Oh, she's good. Yeah, there we go. I actually got a shiny.
Hey,
fancy.
Yeah.
Farida
card. And then we
Congrats, you're a Magic card now.
You are. We got Brunor Battlehammer.
Well, my character looks like a distinction. I'm not Farida.
That is true. That is true. Important.
We've got
we
got
I was
Krydle.
about to say if there was a Havilar card, I'd be like, no, that's you though. But yeah, Farida, I will give you
I've
the
seen a
one
lot
step.
of people going. I saw people on Twitter theorizing that there's something on the edge of the Farida card. They're like, that is definitely Havilar's Glaive Devil Slayer. There's another one coming, and I have to tell you, one, I don't know anything about that, or any of this. This was a wonderful surprise.
Oh, dude. Oh no, I think that's her tail.
I think it's her tail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they gave her like a super extra long tail.
It definitely looks glaivish, but yeah, I think that's her tail.
You know, we the person we need to find is the artist and see if they intended that to be a shout out to Havilar or not.
Yeah.
And then the last card that I got here that I've gotten so far that I'm really happy about is I have a full art Ellie Wick that's kind of reflecting, but
nice.
I flipped out when I got that. I like full arts a lot. But yeah, so we kind of talked beforehand about the champions in here, and there's kind of three groups. There is the champions of the hall. That's what they're called, right?
Companions
of the hall. Companions of the hall. The legends of Baldur's Gate minus Shandy, which I still find an odd choice, but I wasn't on the team. I don't know.
Maybe she's in the follow-up pack with Havilar.
Could be. And well, because the Wolfgar and Catty Bree are actually only in 2 commander decks, so they're not. You can't even get those through the pack. So I was like, oh, maybe Shandy's showing up through there. Couldn't find her.
Interesting.
And then the other group is the miscellaneous.
The uncategorizable.
Yes.
Categorizable.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Frida's
the
Brimstone Angels.
Transcendent. I love it.
Transcendent. So I guess which one would you all want to talk about first?
Do we start with the companions?
We could definitely do that. I know that one is also near and dear to B Dave's heart.
Yeah. Got to do some stuff with that. You know, no, I got like really lucky with D&D gigs this year where they kind of were like, "Hey, would you like to do like some incredible stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They were like, "Would you like to do a lot more incredible stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah. And I guess a couple months back now. It's weird because time is a flat circle. For the year Dritz, I got to interview Bob Salvatore, R.A. Salvatore. Bob to his friends.
Bob as his friends call him.
Yeah. And I think I told you guys that at the time that like they hit me up on Wednesday to record the next Monday. They legit were like, "Hey, are you vaccinated?" I'm like, "Yeah." They were like, "Have you read the Dritz novels?" I'm like, "Yeah." They were like, "You want to do a thing?" "Yeah." And that literally was the call.
Those are good questions. I like those questions.
It's true. Yeah. Because the new book's coming out. I think it's available for pre-order yet. I don't think it's hit yet.
Usually it comes out in the fall, so I wouldn't think so.
That was where we debuted Sleep Sound, Benedict Cumberbatch's Drow Lullaby, which you haven't heard, is absolutely incredible.
Enchanting.
Yeah, and I will just say this before we dive into the specifics of the companions. If you haven't seen Sleep Sound, the companions are in it, And I was there for the premiere when Bob saw it for the first time, and it made Bob cry, which almost made me cry. Because it is really incredible. It's really incredible, the video. Awesome. Yeah. I'll tell you what about it was so moving after we talk about them a little bit.
So who are the Companions of the Hall?
So as stated, Companions of the Hall are the characters featured in the Legends of Drizzt series. So that includes for this set, that includes Drizzt Do'Urden, the Drow Ranger, that probably most people know about. He's pretty famous, just a little well known.
He only has his own.
One might say
figure.
Iconic.
I mean, nearly $40 million. So there's that.
Yeah, there is that.
That is, is it 30 years now?
Yeah,
that they've been coming out.
Yeah, 1988 was the first one.
Yeah, that's why this year is the year of Drizzt, because it's his 30th anniversary.
I don't know statistics about how long series run off the top of my head, but I have to assume that for a single author written series, because there's lots of series that go on and you use the pen name, right? That everybody, like VC Andrews has a lot of books, but they're not all the same person. That might be among the top.
What? VC Andrews aren't all the same person.
Shock, right? So we have Drizzt, who is a drow who left the Underdark and came up into the world to fight evil. And his friends, Brunor Battlehammer, who I believe is the first champion you get in Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms.
Affectionately referred to as Tutorial Dwarf.
Tutorial Dwarf.
Wow, Tutorial Dwarf. Wow.
Yeah. That was my interrupt what? So Brunor leads the dwarves of Icewind Dale, and is kind of friends with Drizzt. They bicker. I don't know. I find them adorable.
Quasi-adopted father for
Drizzt, he's
really.
He's got kind of like fatherly tendencies, but not as much as he does toward his literal adoptive daughter, Catty Bree, who is established as in the commander deck. She's a human.
Can I just say one quick thing for the people who don't even know this much of the mythos, because it's possible they don't know. Drizzt is a drow, dark elf from the Underdark, who was exiled from the Underdark, especially for being too sweet of a boy. Essentially, for being too sweet of a boy. More to it than that, but more or less.
What do you mean you don't like spiders?
I mean, right? They were like, "Bro, you should leave, or we're gonna eat your face." Also, we're gonna continue attempting to eat your face. And when he came to the surface, these were the people he met.
Exactly.
And Brunor took him in, and that is how they first originally got started. Sorry, please continue.
So we have Catty Bree, who is a human. She changes. I think she becomes a wizard briefly, and has clerical abilities. So she through the series learns a lot of things. And I see, this is another thing. I'm like, how much do I try not to spoil a series that's been going on for 30 years?
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll stop there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
I feel like it's okay to spoil like the earlier things.
Yeah.
But because we're talking about them in the context of being Magic cards, I guess we don't have to give away too many plot details, because these people go through a lot over the last 30 years.
Some of the things that Catty Bree goes through are very moving and effective to read. So you should read those books. There we go. There's also Wolfgar, who's a barbarian, who is he's not adopted by Brunor. I believe he's indentured to Brunor initially, but he also Brunor becomes kind of a father figure, and he's sort of the main character in the Crystal Shard. Like when the first book came out, it is sort of structured as Wolfgar's story, but Drizzt is so fascinating and interesting that he automatically draws your attention and becomes the hero of the series.
I can tell you one of the delightful factoids.
Would you like to share this story?
This is Bob Salvatore. The Wolfgar card, by the way, from the commander.
Hey. Yeah. He looks so cheerful, which is not what I would expect.
Again, that's what I thought too.
There you go. Wolfgar also goes through a lot of stuff.
I felt like someone was just like, "Hey, Wolfgar, smile." And he's just like, "All right, this once."
Yeah, and they were like, "Nah, it's scrap forever. We got you." Yeah, Regis. Two of the main nuggets of joy that I got from my conversation with Bob Salvatore, which was tremendous. to pronounce the Drow city as Menzoberranzan, that's a thing now. Didn't know that. That's a thing, and I'm doing my best to spread the gospel that is pronounced Menzoberranzan. And the Crystal Shard was originally written without Dritz at all.
That's wild.
Yeah, he wasn't even a character, and he came in later, which is why the story is not so much about him. And, like you said, the free market sort of decided we want more of that guy.
That one's the grabby one. That's the one I want to see.
Also,
and that does bring up, there is, we were talking about, you mentioned that Shandy is not included in the Legends of Baldur's Gate. Regis is not actually included.
Fair. That is fair.
So they did trim it down.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to have lost one. Well, I guess Brimstone Angels technically is just 2 members, but my hand stands in the back.
I did also pull up the Catty Bree card, and to the person that's like Treavor casually showboating his cards. That's right, I will, because they're relevant. I don't get to show off Magic cards that often on at all on this show, so I'm gonna do it.
No, this is not just a flex; it is a relevant flex. That's the best kind of flex,
right?
People can't call you out on a relevant flex.
Rules are rules.
All right, it is 11:15. You all keep talking. I'm gonna bust open a pack. The audio listeners will get the ASMR of the booster pack.
Oh, are we cracking packs?
We're cracking packs.
Yeah.
Luckily, I still have this trash can from last night. I'll let you know if anything relevant comes up.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
But and then hang on. I clicked away. I clicked away from my list. It's my own fault.
How dare you? Think of the children.
I did. Yep. And then so Dritz, Brunor, Catty Bree, Wolfguard, those are the companions, and we got the Legends of Baldur's Gate. Yes.
I was gonna say, I'm curious, because I don't have the Magic cards in front of me. If you guys know, you do. Yeah, Trevor, since you have Magic cards in front of you.
Free to casting a fireball. Nothing weird about that.
This is kind of my question.
Nothing weird about that.
Do you feel like the abilities, obviously the abilities have to be adjusted, because what they do in a novel and what they do in a video game like Untitled Champions of the Forgotten Realms is not what they need to do in a game like Magic the Gathering. But I'm curious if the abilities of the cards, how they match up, like what was done to kind of make them go. So can you see what's Dritz's card do?
Oh, well, Drist's when he comes in the battlefield, he has double strike, which is great because he's got 2 swords.
Right, this is an iconic element of Dritz. He double wields scimitars. One of which is the tooth of a white dragon, which I find delightful. Twinkle in Icing Death.
Yeah, and I actually have the they have Icing Death as a card, and when you kill it, you actually get this token equipment that is Icing Death, so you can equip it to a creature.
Beautiful art,
right?
Too.
Isn't that so pretty?
I've always loved the fact that one of his swords is named Twinkle.
I know, it's so good.
I love that too, because it sounds kind of like cutesy, but like it's a sword and he will kill you with it.
Twinkle is taking countless lives. Wants. I feel like that is you as a weapon, Aaron. You're like, I'm Twinkle, but I will cut you.
Like I don't. I've always, on a business card.
I've always wanted
you can quote me on that. Put it in your Twitter bio.
I've always wanted a live action version of Drist with this brooding voice that I always hear him have saying, "This is my sword, Twinkle." Because I think it would be great.
JCM voices him in a lot of the games. Ask Jason to say it for you.
I
didn't even think about that. I'm gonna ask him for that.
I love it.
But during D&D Live, he came on and he did some Dritzdisms for us on day 1.
I think that most of the cards have pretty good stuff. Like Frida's Fireball. I honestly, if I didn't know you, Aaron, I wouldn't have even thought about she can't cast
she can't
that.
Cast Fireball. She does not have Fireball as a spell in any of the books.
I think a lot of them did a good job at converting them. What are you gonna say, Beauty?
For me to nerd out a little bit, that image is not Fireball. That's not what Fireball looks like. Fireball is a small pellet of light that shoots out from you and detonates at the destination. We always think of it as like this Kamehameha thing. It's actually not. So that's not Fireball she's doing. I don't know what she is doing. And I'd leave it up to you whether she's got some other beam of light appears over my head before a thing happens spell.
She has some sort of cone of flames spell that I forget the name of.
Burning Hands?
But I don't think it's burning hands.
Burning hands is you hold your hands out and it literally is like a fan of flames. However,
it was a 4th edition spell specifically because that's when I was paying close attention. Well, she was a listen.
Yeah.
I wrote it during 4th edition. I had to follow the rules regardless of what B. Dave Walters thought about it. And I did wonder, and I didn't know why I wondered because he didn't know you then. But
here's why that's okay with me, because this is a direct conflict of two pillars of my identity. Is one, me being glad that 4th edition is behind us and we shall never speak of it again. But two,
I get you to do a game for charity.
You made money off of it, so I have to accept and respect it. We wouldn't be here if not for 4th edition. So 4th edition gave me you, Erin.
Aww.
So
there you go.
Fine. You know what?
That's the positive.
In that, I have made peace with 4th edition.
So I went through the pack. Frida's Fireball is the only card in here that has an Isle Champions character on it. The gold that I got is Teleportation Circle, which seems pretty cool. So yeah, got that.
Let me say to what, again, I am nowhere near that expert on Magic that I once was, but I've looked at the cards and went through a bunch of them, and especially I saw, like, when we were filming those commercials and we had them all, and I was looking at it, it was like, it really was like a later edition of the game, but like I understood the words, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I know what that does, and I'm like, okay, and this is it. Like, I think the main difference is Commander has changed the game a lot. That was all after my time. But to your point, it is Magic first and D&D second. In the sense that it's like, this is the game of Magic, but logically and thematically, it makes sense to put this D&D element over.
I was on a podcast with Puff and Forrest and a couple other people this weekend, and some of them were like, "But this isn't how it works in D&D." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's because it's a Magic card."
Right. Similarly, like I think in the main Frida card, she has like flight abilities.
Yes, I believe she gets flying.
She gets flaming wings, but they're for scaring people. Like they produce a fear effect.
So to be fair, she does get menace, which is cool. A fear effect.
There we go. And flying is cool. So that's got to be very interesting for your battles. So
yeah, there's a lot of ground effects. I mean, metaphorical landmines that like, if you step on this, a thing happens, and you're like, but what if I don't step on it? It's like, oh yeah.
One of the other things that I do really like about the set is that there's certain cards that's just like, this is just Joe Schmo Paladin, but like it has 3 abilities that you get to pick from on it that are named after spells or abilities Paladins can do.
That's cool.
And there's a lot of cards like that. I love that little bit of flavor in it. It's really cool. But where do we leave off on these champions?
We are up to I think Legends of Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
Yeah, we're through the companions. Minskin Boo, where 2018 the Stream of Many Eyes, when played Jim Zub shaved his head to play Mince with Matt Mercer as Boo. That was Jim Zub's birthday.
I know,
that was
I love it
so
much. That was the first time I ever saw what Jim Zub looked like, and it like I just heard his name, and then he walked out and was like, "This is perfect. I wouldn't change this for anything."
That's amazing.
Yeah, keep that in your hard box. Yeah.
Minskin Boo might be my favorite lore characters ever. I just love them so damn much. Like I especially love on his Wikipedia page, it was like, during this year's Minsk's favored enemy was this, during this year's it was vampires, but now he just says that it's evil. Like his favorite enemy is evil.
A lot of times you don't get to do the full nerd out about the lore that Erin and I are quite frankly tasked to do. Tell us, who are Minskin Boo, Treavor?
Yeah, Minskin Boo are just the best. I just want to leave it at that. No, they are. How do you? Okay, it's where Cecilia's from. Rashomon.
Minsk has been to Rashomon.
He's from Rashomon.
Does he remember it? I know. That's the joke is in Dungeon Scrawlers, people will question Cecilia and she'll say, it's like, we do that in Rashomon. Have you been to Rashomon? Nobody's been to Rashomon. Nobody wants to go to Rashomon. It's cold and there's really crabby witches and lots of berserkers. And you have to go through Thay to get there. So Minsk has been to Rashomon. He's from Rashomon. Yeah. He's a berserker from Rashomon, I believe.
Yes. So yeah, he was trying to get into a trial, I believe is what I had read before. And essentially ended up going on kind of this quest sort of pilgrimage thing with
pajama.
with a witch.
It's like Rashmi Rumspringer. It's like, go out, see the world, see how we're better, come back because you feel bad you left. Yes. And you didn't come back.
And so he went traveling with a witch to protect her and everything like that, saw the world, and at some point, I still don't quite know where, he found Boo, who, according to him, is a miniature giant space hamster, which is my favorite sentence in the entire world. And
wait. What do you mean according to him? Boo is a miniature giant space hamster.
I know in my game he is, but they leave it very vague in the lore, so that's why I'm putting it like that.
That's like saying, according to Aaron, Farida is a tiefling. No, Farida's a tiefling. Boo is a miniature giant space hamster.
And again, like, okay, where's that quote? There's a quote on the Wikipedia page I love. The quote is, "Stand down, dirty minions of evil, or face my hamster's wrath." I love that so much. It's just like, I played the Neverwinter MMO for a while, and at one point they just caught me off guard with like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna run with Minsk and Boo through this dungeon." I went, "What?" Like, I'm in my house by myself. I'm just like, "Oh my god, it's Minsk." But my favorite piece of lore that is from recent is there was a statue of Minsk in Baldur's Gate. And when Delina was there for the first time, she was attacked by gargoyles, because, you know, that's how Baldur's Gate greets you. And she cast a spell, wild magic went off, it missed the gargoyle, hit the statue of Minsk and Boo, which then dispelled it because it was actually them petrified, and Minsk immediately went evil and took out his sword and started fighting. And that's just Minsk. That's perfectly, for me, describes Minsk. And that's the end of my Minsk TED Talk.
And also Jim's favorite.
One of my favorite timeline jumps, when you go for when the edition is moving big chunks, you kind of, some people went, well, how do I make sure I bring this character along? Or they went, oh wait, we want this character to stay. I was petrified for the entirety of the Spellplague and the Wailing Years, and now here I am ready to kick evil's ass some more. It is probably one of my favorites. It's tidy, it's quick, it uses the game rules to get back to where we want to get, and it's hilarious.
I do remember hearing Bob Salvatore talk about the meeting they had where they're like, okay, we're doing a time jump, and everybody going, okay, how are we keeping our characters though? You were gonna say something, B-Dave? Nope. Okay.
Not this time.
So who else do we got in?
Delina, you mentioned. Yep. Who is a wild magic sorceress. She's got a twin. She and Frida, twins. Mm-hmm. And she's a half elf, I think. Am I remembering that right?
Yes. Maybe.
She's an elf. She's a moon elf.
She's a moon elf.
She went to Baldur's Gate to find her twin brother, and found Minsk.
Yep, and a lot of problems.
She fell right into a narrative.
It is true, yeah. Like the first one, if I remember correctly, is pretty well like main character her, like she's got the big problem and everything like that, and brings these people together and everything. I had actually only read the Descent into Avernus ones that Jim Zub did, and after looking more into this, I'm like, I'm buying these today, and I'm reading all of them because these sound glorious.
So let's see, we have Minsk and Boo, we have Delina, we have Kreidel, who is a half-elf thief, with ties to the nobility of Baldur's Gate, but not interested in them, but has to deal with them sometimes.
I did realize, hang on, I've been missing out on like talking about what these things do in Magic, because I know a few people in the chat do play the game and whatnot. Kreidel, I've used a lot in the digital version of the game, and he is just the worst for my opponents, because he has a thing where it's like, if whenever a creature attacks, you can pay mana and he will make them unblockable. He basically plays distraction. And it's really cool to just be like, hey, I'm gonna have this thing attack that when it hits you, it does stuff, but you can't block it, so
must be real rough.
Yeah. And they actually put Delina's wild magic into her card. So one of the big things about this set is the fact that you actually roll dice And with Delina, whenever she attacks, you roll a d20, and it has like a table on the card that tells you what, crazy stuff happens. Hers is, I think she actually got errated because her mechanic ended up being broken. Because she can like straight up copy a card. And if you get a 20, you do it again. So I think some things got changed there, but in the commander decks, they've included, I've recently found out, more than D20s. There's cards that call for D10s, D8s, D6s. So you can just have a full on D&D game right there with all like 200 cards.
Complete with narration.
Yes. It's 11:30. I'm busting up another pack as you guys.
All right, do it.
I applaud you and your restraint.
It's hard, man. It's hard. So who else do we got there?
I am checking the list that you sent.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was, I think that might be all the
I think that's all of the legends, yeah. Because again, Shandy's not in there. Sad.
Also, shout out to Neverwinter Nights, where a lot of these characters.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Baldur's Gate 2 is where I learned about Minsk, and from the first moment I heard "Go for the eyes, boo," I was in love.
I mean, can a not miniature giant space hamster do that? I mean, think about it. Story didn't even add up. Yeah.
My packs are failing, y'all, and you know what? If I don't get a champion in this, I will open more of them. The gold that I got was Triumphant Adventure. Yeah, I will keep busting these open on stream until I get one.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
I will do it all I want.
The only one we haven't mentioned is Ellie Wick, who is in the upcoming adventure, Witchlight.
Yes.
So we don't know a whole lot, but we talked about her a little last week when we talked about the Deck of Many Things, because her deal is she drew from the Deck of Many Things, and she got the wish card, the moon. And she wished to be the best bard in the world.
So her card, she is a planeswalker, and there was a lot of conversation when the set got announced, because some things were planeswalkers and some things weren't, and people were like, "Huh?"
Would you like to explain what a planeswalker is?
Yeah.
Because I also was, because Lolth is one now, and so I know that was a whole thing.
Yeah, so planeswalkers came about like over 10 years ago, and in the lore, these are essentially what you are playing. When you are playing Magic in lore, you are a planeswalker, and that deck is your library of spells. And every set, except for the core sets, take place on different planes, and it is explained that you are walking to another plane to have these stories and combats and everything like that. So when they made them cards, they made them pretty powerful, but also they count as a second player. So whenever somebody is like, "I attack," you can choose to either attack the player or their planeswalkers. So Ellie Wick, it makes sense that she's a planeswalker. She got the wish card. She wished to be the greatest bard in the multiverse. And so, she can just go about and do whatever she wants. The confusion came around when Lolth, Bahamut, Lolth and Bahamut were planeswalkers, and they're gods, which everyone was like, "Oh, okay." But then Tiamat, Orcus, and I think there's another god that aren't. They're just normal creatures.
Now I'm offended. I find myself being a consistently having to be a very pro Tiamat advocate.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Lady gets done dirty repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. She's gonna find and eat that bard.
I will say this. Bring up Josh Lee Coy again. The recent episode of Command Zone, they play the Forgotten Realms set, and Amy Vorpal plays a Tiamat commander deck, and it's glorious. And then the last planeswalker of the set makes the most amount of sense because it's Mordekainen. Of course, he can go wherever the heck he wants.
as one does.
Canonically does.
So someone put in the chat, I really like this. The reason Tiamat's not a planeswalker is she's bound to Avernus. She can't technically walk the plains.
Ouch.
I mean, is she though? Think about it. She is until she isn't. Mm-hmm. That's Tiamat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the mechanics of Ellie Wick are pretty cool. But they also actually made a wish card. So you can cast Wish in Magic the Gathering, and its ability is so cool. It just says you can play a card from outside the game. You can literally go to your collection, pull out a card, and go, I play this.
That, that's what Wish is supposed to be. I have spoken at length about the broken Twilight Zone monkey paw nature of Wish and how it's supposed to work. Like, it is very much defanged in 5e. As I said, when Ellie Wick was like, I wish to be the best bard in the multiverse, if somebody made that wish at my table, I would not have elevated her in status. I'd have taken the bard powers away from everyone else. Like, oh, well, then you're the only bard. Yeah, that's because
every time you say that,
it's
it
so
makes me
subjective.
sad.
It's so subjective. This is the only way to be sure you did it.
Yep.
It's exactly. That's the only way. If there are no, I mean, hey, Brainiac taught me that's the only way to know you know everything is if you destroy it after you learn it. So,
by the way, B-Dave, Brainiac taught me is one of the top 10 most terrifying sentences.
I appreciate that. My other favorite Brainiac factoid, the idea of calling somebody a Brainiac, as they're smart, comes from the character, not vice versa. He isn't named Brainiac because that's a word for being smart. That character was so ubiquitous as a Superman villain. That's why people call people Brainiac, because of him.
That's incredible. Also, we cast Wish to be able to talk about lore outside of this show.
So I have a question about that card. Is it any magic card that's not in the set, or any card period?
You know what? Hang on.
Can you go open up a board game?
I'm gonna go get my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and cast Exodia.
You go into Catan and take out largest army, and you're like, I officially have 10 times everything.
There was a card back in the day. I do not remember which one it was, dear friends. And it essentially was worded as play any card. And that was the thing people were saying, is like, can I make a card? Like, literally, like, people had like Sharpie handwritten on playing cards, I win, game over, and stuff like that. Because it just said play any card. And they didn't understand the depths and heights that nerds would go to. And depths.
Yeah. I'm now looking for this card out of all the things I opened yesterday to try and find out. Because that would be pretty freaking funny. We're just like, oh yeah, no, I just, I'm gonna play my Yu-Gi-Oh cards now. Yeah, I can't find it. I'll look it up later. Yeah, there used to be cards that, like, because they sometimes do these joke sets of Magic cards, and there's cards that are just like, my favorite one is everyone at the table grabs a random object from the room and puts it behind their back. Whoever has the median sized object is the one that keeps all their cards and everyone else is destroyed. Something like that. I can't quite remember.
Wild.
Okay. Well, there is one other one, and it is Farida. And I know we talked about Farida. But does it feel cool? By the way, I'm opening another pack. Audio listeners, you're getting the ASMR.
Although, yes, we have talked about Farida, but, we never know. There might be somebody joining us for the first time here. Hi, friend, or hasn't heard every episode. Whom is Farida?
Yes.
Farida is a tiefling warlock, a neutral good tiefling warlock, which everybody gets very, you can't do that. But you can. I did. She is the main character of the Brimstone Angels saga, which I wrote. So now she's a magic card, which is very exciting. We'll add it to the list of games that she's stepped into. As established, she does things in Magic that she couldn't do in the novels. I guess she went and learned some new stuff, like flying and casting not fireball, but something. Maybe it's just called Farida's Fireball because it's a whole new spell.
I don't know. I'm gonna make that on D&D Beyond later. It's gonna be cute. It's gonna be the one fireball that warlocks can cast. Also, I'm getting mad because I didn't get another champion, so I'm opening another pack. Audio listeners, you get more ASMR.
So he's not in Idle Champions, but Farida's pact. The devil she has a pact with, Lorcan, is a magic card.
Yes.
In the deck.
It's in I think it's the red-black commander deck.
Which is cool.
Yeah. I do like I think he's called Lorcan Warlock Collector or something like that.
That is his thing. Lorcan is not the kind of pact master who's like, sell me your soul. He's like, this is a status symbol. Look, I got one of each in a set.
This is not a champion, but it is the most appropriate card for me to open on this show. I got Orcus. There he is. You can't see it, but he's got a boombox behind him. So
my boy, there it is. Yeah. He left it. He left it in the car. He's like, Raven Queen, love me in your eyes.
Hands down, the most appropriate card I could have opened on this dang show.
Good. That is good.
Yeah, I do hope that, because again, I really hope that they do more of these, because it's two of my favorite things. Again, I've shown it off on the show. There's a lot of Magic cards up there. I like both these properties, and for me though, if they do another set, I really want to have Lore card. Like, I think that would be like Pie in the Sky Dream. I want a commander deck where Farida and Havilar are partner commanders, because I think that'd be sick. So there people are posting Counting Coup actually put in the official ruling on Wish. In a casual game, a card you choose from outside the game comes from your personal collection. In a tournament event, a card you choose from outside the game must come from your sideboard. In limited events, your sideboard includes an arbitrary number of basic lands. You may look at your sideboard at any time. Interesting. I wondered how they would have done that in tournaments, where they run over to someone else's deck. They're like, yoink.
I wished it.
Wink. Any last thoughts about Magic sets and champions before we take a look at what the chat's been up to? No. Okay.
Super cool and exciting.
It is super cool and exciting. I closed Twitch. I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Ryan Hayden says, can one make money with Magic the Gathering? For me, the hobby was a black hole for money.
Pete, if you're muted.
Oh. Verifiably, I did it, and I've witnessed with my own eyes. Josh Lee Quiet drives a really nice car. I'm here to tell you, yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah, I have monetized Dungeons and additionally Dragons. Quite frankly, this summer I think I monetized Magic too. So yeah, you can.
You did, yeah. So I don't know what's going on with tournament play. I
do want to say this one thing. What I did find though was for all of my friends in college that like we were there kind of at the infancy of the tournament circuit. Like in my day, the Black Lotus was $500. If those words mean something to you, it dates this story to a very specific period in time. And what ended up happening is a bunch of them either became pro Magic players or became pro poker players, because once you make the mental jump that I'm going to play cards for money, and then one of them literally pays infinite multiplicative amounts, a lot of them deviated and went that way. Yeah.
I will say another thing is, yeah, if you get rares that are worth a lot of money, yes, you can make a profit off of it. There, during the Theros set, I paid for 2 fat packs and then never paid for any of the rest of the cards that I got, because I just kept selling rares and buying more fat packs. So you can do that, or you could just, keep them. Obo Lauren says Champions of the Hall is what the kids in the hall from Canada call themselves. I like that a lot. It's a good one. Herkwork, they used to have the artwork on the website separate from the cards so you could see the full art, and I know that some people actually would go and draw the rest of the full art on their cards, which was pretty cool. Messi Duval, I think is what it is. Petition to change his official name to Brunor the Tutorial Dwarf. No, we're not doing that. It's a community manager. No. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is actually pretty good. J Deja Vu. Brunor is also the quote-unquote tutorial dwarf in the PHB Chapter 1. It uses him as an example to teach you how to make a character.
That is a good point.
That is very, very true.
He's earned this moniker.
Yes. C&E Dylan says,
I mean, he raised Dritz, he's raised us all.
C&E Dylan says, too sweet of a boy, aka, by the way, he's the most skilled killing machine ever. that's
but he won't just do a murder to do a murder. And
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a prolific killer with a conscience.
I mean,
you can't have that.
He's mostly killed only people that have it coming.
Yep. This is really sweet from TTRPG Gifts. It says, when I got Farida, I literally gasped and said, Erin M. Evans!
That's very sweet.
It's my reaction every time we log in at SDU.
Let's see. Catch23 says, I do find it funny how many of these characters in all other mythos just freeze at a certain point in time, and it's a time pretty early in the series. It's been a long time since Catty Bree has been an archer. Okay, good to know. Oh, this is arguing lore that we put down. This is a correction.
Oh.
Catch23 also adds, it is not a dragon's tooth. Icing Death is a Frostbrand scimitar named after the dragon whose hoard he took it from.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. That makes more sense because I never did know why that dragon had one really long tooth.
I mean,
the rest of them got busted out by Wolfgar's hammer.
There you go.
That. Let's see. This is oh my gosh, I don't know how to say your name. Zega. I'm just gonna call you Zega. You know who you are. There's a card.
Zega.
There's a card called Fireball in MTG, and it does look like a Kamehameha wave. Or no, Kamehameha. Oh, excuse me, I said the wrong one. So she is casting the MTG Fireball, not the D&D Fireball. I actually did hear that apparently in their logic, this is not the official Forgotten Realms. This is a Magic the Gathering version of the Forgotten Realms, and the Magic the Gathering settings in D&D are not the official settings from Magic. They're completely separate with the separate rule set. And I'm like, that hurts my head to think about.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of we don't want to worry about fussing about details when they get tricky.
Again, it like, has to be, you know? Otherwise, it very quickly falls apart because the things don't line up.
Let's see. Oh,
Cassie's... otherwise, Elminster and Mordenkainen roll over and just wreck everything and then come home.
I don't need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. It's just because it's Cassie's 3-5, and I've joked with this with him before. He says Exodia won't work. It's not a single card. Haha, they did make it into a single card later, and I do have it because I played with my nephews and I wanted to beat them. I'm gonna read this one, and it is very off topic, and I'm okay with it. Ryan Hayden says, maybe a little off topic question, but if you all agreed to play a character in Real Housewives of Waterdeep, a group of high society ladies that are friends / rivals that could rule the city, if it wasn't for constant backstabbing, what would be your character and their ambitions?
Oh my God. No, you can't put me on the spot.
This is one of my favorite questions ever.
Honestly, really may now do a show that is essentially Real Housewives of Waterdeep, like a political intrigue drama set in Waterdeep. Like I'd legit hand to God may do that now.
Please let me on there.
That's a really hooky idea. I like it.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea.
B-Dave's gears are turning. They're turning. Oh man.
I think if I had to play a character, it would probably be an Aasimar that was just like the sweetest bean, but was an assassin rogue.
Ooh.
Who like would go out at night, like she would have an alter ego just like the Black Viper does, but her alter ego would be the Masked Lord, and she would go out at night and just savagely gank people, and then just be the sweetest baby by day.
I have this. I just got this idea in my head, and I kind of like it. An older elven woman, not obviously the age of Silverhand, but who has become convinced that one of her friends in her friends group is a masked Lord of Waterdeep and is now plotting their downfall so she can replace them.
I feel like there's a lot of masked Lord potential.
Oh yeah, here. There's so much fun that could be with that.
What my first thought was someone who drops heavy hints they are a masked Lord to get people like telling them things to do favors, but then they're just going to use those to enrich themselves because who knows what the masked Lords do? And one person vetoes, who cares? Who gets way in over their head, like what's her name who went to jail? But yeah, I'm bad at characters on the spot. But now I'm going to be thinking about this all day long.
I like that. You know what I just realized? And I don't remember what the question was. I remember in the last episode we said, hey, remind us about this question and we'll have answers for you next time. Totally forgot. I don't even remember what it was. ADHD just took it away.
Ooh, yeah. If you're in chat right now, do you remember your question from last week?
Drop it in quick.
Please pose it to us. That's true, because we were like, this requires more than 40 seconds, and soon we will only have 40 seconds.
Exactly.
That's true.
Cassius335 says, I'm guessing your single Exodia doesn't have you win the game effect, does it, Trevor? I went, listen, Cassius, you don't have to do a follow-up, okay? That's fair. Let's see. Hercwork does say this is when you find out that the masked lords are all housewives of Waterdeep. Which would be kind of funny where they're all masked lords and they don't know.
They're not all real housewives.
Yeah. I do like that. Garwar says
something where you could be the Xanatar's wife, but that is lore breaking and you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, we know he loves the fish. We don't know that he doesn't have like a squeeze down there.
Hey, we don't know. Yeah, the fish is it.
The character.
Yes.
I said what I said. I've got a very checkered relationship with that fish. And yes, we don't know that, he's not seeing somebody down in
He's a
Skullport.
beholder, though. They all hate all the behold. They hate everybody except the fish.
He's got a lot of eyes to be seeing someone.
Uh-huh.
I think I actually do remember what the question was now. It was if we could make a card for the deck of many things, what would it be?
Oh, shoot. And that was a really good question.
That was a really good question. Oh, man.
All right, I said I would answer it. So here we go. If I could, hang on. Let me here for context. Let me lay on you real quick. The lightning description of what they are, because that'll help.
I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mine would be a lycanthropy card. So actually more of just a transformation card where it lets you basically become a any kind of being you want. You can change into at any time. Where you're like, I could just turn into a dragon and not care.
Vito's like, that's a nice one.
That's just shape change.
But
I guess wish is just wish. I mean, yeah. So I guess you could get it early. Mine would be something with time. Ooh. Where you could alter past decisions. Like there's the one where you have fate that you can undo one status. But mine would be, you can monkey with your class levels. So it would be a way to be like, I'm a cleric now, bang, like that. But then me being me, if you don't word it carefully, I'd give you like a jacked up subclass or something. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I'm a war cleric, you're a life cleric. Yeah, like something like that. Yeah. But
yeah.
The thing that popped in my head, and this may not be as much fun. I guess it's similar to your soul is now in a random object, is you switch bodies with a random person on this plane. And so now you're a totally different character, but you want to find yourself who's in a different body. That would be interesting.
That would be really cool. That's a good trap
It's
card.
a little like a, what's the spell? Reincarnation, where you randomly roll and you come back as whatever.
Yeah.
Like that, but limited and theoretically reversible. If you
see, what's funny is I actually had a character in a Pathfinder game that did that, where they went through a teleportation circle and they came out and their soul wasn't in them anymore and it was someone else.
Oops. There we go.
That's pretty fun. Jay did put into our text document. Okay, but this is kind of what my party did a few years back in Waterdeep. Not explicitly. I guess. Oh, I think it's to the one before. It's not the Real Housewives. That's what I thought it was. Because Porter Boy said, "I'd like to be a tavern keep, and their rival is the Xanathar from the Thieves Guild." And Jay was saying that they did something like that, not explicitly against the Xanathar, but we might have started a turf war between the Thieves Guild and the Zentarum. Which is fun.
Secret Zentarum housewife.
Oh yes,
I like that.
Ooh.
I like that, especially if you seem like you're just the petty bitch that doesn't do anything except
and but like have like a really bubbly
fights, but
like
actually.
Yes, I like that.
See, I feel like the one that seems like they don't do anything is the thing I would have the most suspicious about. I would be doing a suspicious every time they were around. I'd be like, yeah, put somebody on their trail every night when the lords meet.
Yes. There are several other very good questions in here, but I think that is where we're going to have to stop for today. I hope you all learned some fun stuff about the champions and some Magic cards. But Erin, B-Dave, where can people find you and what awesome things you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can catch me tonight at 6:30 on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers, where I play D&D with a bunch of other fantasy writers. And hopefully we are finishing off our murder mystery because I don't know who did it. So that's where hopefully somebody figures it out.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Erin, there is a Magic card that is a Westgate vampire. As soon as I got it, I thought of you.
Oh, get those guys. We do fight a lot of vampires, not right now, though.
Mm-hmm. B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. I know this is going to come as a complete and total shock, but I have a big announcement in like a week or so.
Hey.
Probably. Yeah. Things are happening as things are wont to do. Follow me on the tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters and Black Dice Society Thursdays at 4 on D&D Twitch and YouTube with the world's hunkiest podcast producer.
Who has a production mouse now to help work on it?
Production mouse. You guys send me a link to that. I probably need it.
I literally don't know what this is, but you can tell me later.
That is true. Yeah. Follow me on the tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters.
You can find me.
I will say, for those of you that this matters, we're back in the studio filming LA by Night, season 5 right now. We started last night, and it's a lot. It's a lot. That's all I'm going to say.
Very
it's a lot.
excited. You can find me on the Difficulty Class podcast every Friday, except for this Friday. We're taking a week off for personal reasons, but we will be back the week after. You can also find me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there, and you can also find me wherever the Idle Champions community is, because I'm the community manager, and that's still getting weird to say, and I'm trying to get used to it. Thank you to Jay for moderating in the chat as always, and thank you to Cody Entertainment for letting us have some fun talk about D&D. If you missed any part of this show, you can catch it later at 2 p.m. as a podcast on your favorite podcast service. And if you have any suggestions for future topics you'd like us to talk about, you send those into championsoflore at codenameentertainment.com. Today, if you're here live with us, 1 p.m. There is Mars's Guiding Hand, and at 3 p.m. is Sketching Hour, and they're gonna be making some cool stuff and drawing things, and gonna be fun. Last week, Lee on Griddle Champions did pancake art of stuff that they did on Sketching Hour, and I loved it. It was so cute. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this week's episode. So until next week, Champions out.